Good day, learners. Our topic is entitled Critiquing a Literary Selection Using Structuralist, Formalist, Moralist, Marxist, Feminist, and Historical Literary Approach. Structure or form is the arrangement of story elements according to purpose, style, and genre. Structure doesn't just happen on its own. Rather, it is carefully considered by the author to make sure their intended meaning is conveyed. In order for a story to be truly immersive, the structure must play the part of a skeleton. So, in other words, the structure supports the story to ensure the most powerful delivery of elements, yet in a manner unseen and not easily identified by the reader. Let's define what structuralist and formalist are. For structuralist, it is under the structuralism that can be viewed as an extension of formalism. So in that, both structuralism and formalism devoted their attention to matters of literary form, that is the structure, rather than the social or historical content, and that both bodies of thought were intended to put the study of literature on a scientific, objective basis. Structuralism relied initially on the idea of the Swiss linguist, namely Ferdinand de Saussure. So, like Plato, Saussure regarded the signifier, or what we call the words, marks, symbols, as arbitrary and unrelated to the concept, the signified to which it referred. And when we say formalist or formalism, as the name implies, this is an interpretive approach that emphasizes literary form and the study of literary devices within the text. The work of the formalists had a general impact on later development in structuralism and other theories of narrative. Formalism, like structuralism, sought to place the study of literature on a scientific basis through objective analysis of the motifs, devices, techniques, and other functions that comprise the literary work. First, we have the structuralist. In literary theory, structuralism is an approach analyzing the narrative material by examining the underlying invariant structure. And for example, a literary critic applying a structuralist theory might say that the authors of the West Side Story did not write anything really new because their work has the same structure as Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. In both texts, a girl and a boy fall in love. So there is a formula with a symbolic operator between them would be the boy plus girl. So despite the fact that they belong to two groups that they hate each other, which is the boys group and the girls group, or opposing forces and conflict is resolved by their death. Now, the versatility of structuralism is such that a literary critic could make the same claim about the story of two friendly families. For example, the boys family plus girls family that arrange a marriage between their children despite the fact that the children hate each other. And then the children commit suicide to escape the arranged marriage. The justification is that the second story's structure is an inversion of the first story's structure. So the relationship between the values of love and the two pairs of parties involved have been reversed. Structuralist literary criticism argues that the novelty value of a literary text can lie only in new structure rather than in the specifics of character development and voice in which that structure is expressed. One branch of literary structuralism, like Freudianism, Marxism, and transformational grammar, suggests both a deep and surface structure. In a Freudian literary interpretation, the literary text is based on the deep structure grounded in the life and death instincts. And the Marxist reading will interpret the conflict between classes in the text as rooted in the deep structure of the economic base. Please take note that when we say structuralist, it recognizes that the significance of each word within a text is determined by internal as well as external factors, that is, the historical, biographical, and cultural context. The structuralist critics analyze material by examining the underlying structures, such as characterization or plot, and attempted to show how these patterns were universal and could thus be used to develop general conclusions about both individual works and the systems from which they emerge. Structuralism regarded language as a closed, stable system, and by the late 1960s, it had given way to post-structuralism. Other examples for structuralists are these movies. That Thing Called Tadhana in 2015, this is a local movie in our country, versus Before Sunrise 1995. So it means that these two movies has the same structure, since it talks about the strangers meeting each other, then eventually share each other's experience about love, especially their hearts being broken because of being in love. Second, we have the formalist or formalism. Formalism viewed literature as a distinct and separate entity, unconnected to historical or social clauses or effects. It analyzed literature according to devices unique to literary works and focused on the literariness of a text. Words were not simply stand-ins for objects, but objects themselves. Formalists advanced the concept of defamiliarization, arguing that literature, by calling attention to itself as such, estranged the reader from ordinary experience and made the familiar seem new. Formalism's tendency to collapse form and content is somewhat similar to New Criticism's approach, though its main influence was on structuralism. And when we say formalist, it refers to critical approaches that analyze, interpret, or evaluate the inherent features of a text. It also means features include not only grammar and syntax, but also literary devices such as meter and tropes. When we say tropes, this refers to motifs, theme, or even symbolism. This approach reduces the importance of a text's historical, biographical, and cultural context. Third is moralist. Moralist is a type of literary critic that judges the value of the literature based on its moral lessons or ethical teachings. It is also an approach used to judge literary works according to moral rather than the formal principles. So if the literary text is ethically sound and encourages virtue or positive values, it is equal to praised, or you will praise the text when you are to write a critic paper. But if the literary text misguides and corrupts the mind of the reader or the audience, you will condemn the literary piece. So this theory explains why a certain action is wrong or why we ought to act in certain ways. In short, it is a theory of how we determine right and wrong, or the good manners and right conduct. It also provides the framework upon which we think and discuss in a reasoned way, and so evaluate the specific moral issues. And what are the principles of moralist literary approach? One of those is that human action is right when it conforms with the norm, rule, or law of morality. That is why in moralist or moralist criticism, we will judge the text according to the moral lessons or ethical teachings that we may gain from it. And we have the example for moralist. It is entitled The Fox and the Grapes by Aesop. One hot summer's day, a fox was strolling through an orchard when he came to a bunch of grapes that were ripening on a vine, hanging over a lofty branch. "Those grapes are just the things to quench my thirst," said the fox. Drawing back a few paces, the fox took a run and a jump, but just missed the bunch of grapes. Turning round again, he jumped up, but with no greater success. Again and again, the fox tried to jump up and reach the juicy grapes, but at last had to give it up, and walked away with his nose in the air, saying, "Oh well, I am sure they are sour anyway." So, this little story, in other words, contains a keen truth about the way we, as humans, tell stories ourselves, or maybe spinning narratives, even fictional ones, to cope with failure and our inability to fulfill our goals. In the last analysis, though, this little fable of the fox and the grapes hides a nasty and uncomfortable truth that we can be very quickly turned from desire to hatred purely because we don't get what we want. Small wonder, perhaps, that sour grapes became such a famous praise. And the moralist critic can be in a negative or positive way. For example, when you are encountering problems and you can't be able to overcome it, you tend to think that God is just challenging you. Therefore, you seek more help from Him and eventually do good. So in moralist critic, it's up to our interpretation whether it gives positive values or moral values or the negative values. If it's positive, we will praise it, but if it's negative, we will condemn it. Fourth, we have the Marxist. Marxist literary criticism is a loose term describing literary criticism based on socialist and dialectic theories. It views literary works as reflections of the social institutions. The simplest goals of Marxist literary criticism may include an assessment of the political tendency of a literary work, determining whether its social content or its literary form are progressive. And the proponent of the Marxist approach in writing critic paper is Karl Marx. So, Marxists believe that if the working class makes itself the ruling class and destroys the basis for class society, which are the private property, or what Marx called bourgeois property, there will be a classless society. So in a Marxist society, no social classes are in conflict and there is no government anymore. So in this theory, those who own property and the means of production are the bourgeois, while working class is called proletariat. So in Marxist, the critic will be solely based on the social and dialectic theory. Example for Marxists is the nursery rhyme or song that is entitled Pat a Cake. So it says here, pat a cake, baker's man, bake me a cake as fast as you can. Pat it and prick it and mark it with a B. Put it in the oven for baby and me. So this popular nursery rhyme or kids song reflects the ideology of those in high class, believing that those who belong to lower class should serve as fast as they can. The baker believed by the rich people to be the one to bake foods for them so that they won't have to experience the inconvenience of baking foods for themselves. And unfortunately, the baker, typical worker of the working class, faithfully serves those in the higher class all his life. Fifth is the feminist, from the root word feminine. Okay, feminist criticism is concerned with the ways in which literature and other cultural productions reinforce or undermine the economic, political, social, and psychological oppression of women. That is based from Tyson 83. And the goal of feminist criticism is to bring awareness about the sexual politics and to analyze the writings of women writers from the feminist perspective. It also includes the language and style of writing to determine the relationship between the genders in terms of power. So how are we going to analyze a literary text using feminist approach? So we use it by closely examining the portrayal of the characters, both female and male. Again, it is both for both women or men. And next is investigate the language of the text, the attitude of the author, and the relationship between the characters. And lastly, you may also consider the comments or the author seems to be making about society as a whole. For example, feminist critics may claim that certain male writers address their readers as if they were all men and exclude the female reader. Example for feminists, it is an excerpt from The Yellow Wallpaper. I don't like our room a bit. I wanted one downstairs that opened on the piazza and had roses all over the window, and such pretty old-fashioned chintz hangings. But John would not hear of it. He said there was only one window and not room for two beds, and no near room for him if he took another. He is very careful and loving, and hardly lets me steer without special direction. I have a scheduled prescription for each hour in the day. He takes all care from me, and so I feel basely ungrateful not to value it more. He said we came here solely on my account, that I was to have perfect rest and all the air I could get. Your exercise depends on your strength, my dear, said he, and your food somewhat on your appetite. But air you can absorb all the time. So we took the nursery at the top of the house. So this is story or the story which was written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. She is a well-known American journalist and a female icon who fights for what she believes in women's rights. The Yellow Wallpaper can be looked as this gothic horror story and also, of course, a feminist parable, which gives us the idea that portrays the woman forced to obey her husband by all means, which causes her downfall to her mental sufferings. And lastly, for critic approaches, we have the historical criticism. Historical approach to literary criticism, it involves looking beyond the literature at the broader historical and cultural events occurring during the time the piece was written. An understanding of the world the author lived in, the events, ideologies, culture, lifestyle, etc. that allows for a more comprehensive understanding of the work, which are what we call the transitions, trivia related to feminist literary approach. But what are the considerations in writing a historical approach? First, of course, you have to write the author's biography and social background. Next, when the work was written, what is the time period? What is the year? Next, ideas circulating at the time of writing. What would be or what could be the ideology when it comes in social or political that really occurred during that time of writing? And lastly, what the work meant to the people who first read it. Example of historical criticism. This is just an excerpt from the story The Last Hours. Church cites God as the cause, and fear grips the people as they come to believe that the plague is a punishment for wickedness. But Lady Anne of the Devilish has her own ideas, Educated by nuns, Anne is a rarity among women. Being both literate and knowledgeable, with her brutal husband absent from the manor when news of this pestilence reaches her. She looks for more sensible ways to protect her people than daily confessions of sin. She decides to bring her serfs inside the safety of the moat that surrounds her manor house. Then refuses entry to anyone else, even her husband. Lady Anne makes an enemy of her daughter and her husband's steward by doing so, but her resolve is strengthened by the support of her leading serfs. Until food stocks run low, the nerves of all are tested by continued confinement and ignorance of what is happening in the world outside. The people of Devilish are alive, but for how long? And what will they discover when the time comes for them to cross the moat again? So the story background of this story is when the Black Death enters England through the port in Dorsetshire in June 1348, no one knows what manner of sickness it is, or how it spreads and kills so quickly. The bubonic plague, also known as Black Death, was the inspiration of the writer, Minette Walters, to finish her story and to give hope to the people that the pandemic will soon end.